Thank you all for being here. This is really wonderful to see so many dear friends and family of our mother, Frieda Burdette. I'm Stephen Schultz, I'm her son, and
I'm Krista Schultz, her daughter.
And we're very pleased to welcome you here today to this historic venue. It dates from the 1950s. This whole Institute of Mentalphysics is a very historic and very spiritual place, and it's a place that Mom really marked among one of her favorites in the whole world, to spend time at, to walk around, to hike around.
Thank you everybody for coming. It really means a lot to us.
I know Mom's spirit is here with us in this hall, and is as thrilled as I am and we are that so many of you are here gathered today to celebrate her remarkable life with us all. Mom was born in the summer of 1938 on a farm in rural Michigan, a daughter of Europe. Her parents were immigrants from Denmark and Germany, and she was born premature, so tiny that her resourceful German mother nursed her to health with an eyedropper and a sewing machine drawer as a crib. Mom, as all of us know, would grow into a resilient, loving being who left a legacy that continues to inspire. She was the youngest of 7 siblings, the mother of 5, grandmother of 7, and great-grandmother of 3. And those children, many of those children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren are here in such a joyous way in this hall today. And for some of you others who know very well, she was also a hike leader to literally hundreds of people across the Morongo Basin. Not to mention the scores of folks she touched with her regular talks for many years at the Thursday Welcome Group, started at the Center for Spiritual Living in Yucca Valley. These were more than talks. She would pick a topic, scour the internet for related quotes and images, then use those to print out on her own computer multiple page packets to share with her audience, allowing them to participate. An important part of her talks were wonderful songs like the one you've just been hearing by Paul Gherkin. We're so thankful that you're here today to share your music. Just listen to some of the topics Mom covered in her welcome group talks. They offer a window onto the kind of person she was and the values she held dear. These are some of her topics: care for the earth, hope for the future, look for beauty everywhere, friendship, overcoming life's obstacles, can we all get along? Everyone should have a home. And my favorite, her longest topic title that I could find, look for the good, let go, move on, forgive. These topics came from a few simple precepts Mom lived by and never shied away from sharing with others. Do good, be kind, lend a hand to those less fortunate, stay aware of what's going on in the world, stand up for causes you believe in, keep an open mind, even with your enemies, and spend time in nature, bringing others with you to share in its bounty. Mom loved our 5-acre family homestead up the hill in Landers, where Krista and I grew up. It was her home for some 45 years. She created a veritable Garden of Eden with the plants and wildlife she nurtured there. In her golden years, Mom delighted in watching the sun rise each morning. She also danced in the rain when it came, and ventured out to travel abroad, visit family, and again lead so many hikes across this region and beyond. During holidays and birthdays, her lemon meringue pie and Danish applesauce cake were legendary. She loved purely family, friends, and foes alike, and was deeply loved in return. And from that outpouring of love that has come her way, my sister and I have quipped that she wasn't just ours, she also belonged to the community. Per her wishes, Mom's earthly remains have been laid to rest with her beloved late husband, Dale Burdette, in the beautiful Desert Sands Garden at Joshua Tree Memorial Park, just a couple miles east along Highway 62 from here. They are now one with that beautiful garden. It's a very scenic spot overseen by a lovely sculpture of a ridiculously giant dove. Maybe not so ridiculous when you consider that the dove was Mom's favorite bird. She delighted in feeding dozens of them, or sometimes hundreds, at sunrise every morning up at the homestead. The garden also offers commanding views of the Morongo Basin and Mojave Desert, which Mom loved so dearly. Visiting hours for the garden are 7 days a week, sun up to sundown. Of course, and I know Krista's going to touch on this in her own unique way, but you can also honor Mom by thinking of her on your favorite hike, at your favorite quiet spot in nature, or when a cute rabbit crosses your path, or a gentle dove flies overhead. We believe her spirit flourishes in these places and with these animals. I'm going to close with words that I don't think are my own. As I've shared with Krista, they came to me upon waking one morning, just a couple days after Mom's passing. I literally woke up in the morning with these words running through my head over and over again as if they were on autopilot, outside of my conscious control. I can only think they're a message from beyond that Mom wished to share with all of us. And here they are. I know you're up there, Mom, planning and leading hikes and perhaps flights to every corner of the firmament for so many family and friends and animal companions who you are with now. And I bet they're loving it. I hear the views are pretty spectacular. Thank you.
Just kind of touching on what Steve was saying about thinking about my mom in nature. A couple years ago, I interviewed her for a thesis about her relationship to nature. And she talked a lot about her hikes, but she also talked about a couple of solo times she went out where she laid on her back. Once was in a field of wildflowers and once was under a waterfall, and just looked up. And so I would encourage everybody to find a special place in nature and lay down on your back and look up and think of her. And as Steve said, she didn't just belong to us, and I thought she did until I spent some time out here and met some of her friends and really came to see her as not just my mom, but as a whole person. And one of her dear friends, Steve Berg, wrote a really beautiful piece about her the night after she passed that I wanted to share. So thank you, Steve, for writing this. This is from him. As time marches forward, I have incorporated my own so-called traditions into my year's calendar. And one of these is, at this time of the year, I take a moment to pause and take stock of the many wonderful people in my life. So in this writing, I would like to acknowledge one. Our very own Frieda Burdette. Frieda, though slight in stature, was a giant of perpetual blessings for those around her. I met Frieda by coming to the Center for Spiritual Living in Yucca Valley, where one of the roles she played was hiking leader and organizer. I was looking for a group to walk with, and Frieda's group was the perfect fit. We lived in close proximity to each other, and we began to carpool, and our friendship began to grow. Frieda not only introduced myself and others to the many wonderful trails in the local area and beyond, but was also a mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, and companion to many. Frieda cared for the many animals she resided with on her 5-acre homestead in Landers. She was a perpetual motion machine, always providing comfort for all sentient beings. That line really just speaks to me, because she was tiny, but she was just pure energy and motion. Frieda faced many challenges in her life and met those times with dignity, grace, and fortitude without complaint. Her respect for others' point of view was admirable. She would often remind me that the opposing side's point of view could always be considered. Sometimes I did not want to hear that. Frieda lived by example, and as such, became for me the way shower to follow, not only on the trails and at church, but also in those moments when no one else is around. So in this season of giving, take a moment to pause and think of those people in your life who've made a difference. And then do the work of acknowledging them by card, text, or phone, and let them know what an impact they have made in your life. And like Frieda, they may be happily unaware that they have done anything special, since they were simply being themselves.
This is from a 19th century funeral sermon. It's authored by a nurse who has cared for many people in their final days. And she decided to include this, and I think it just so strongly spoke to me, and I hope it does to you as well. I am standing upon the seashore. A ship at my side spreads her white sails to the morning breeze and starts for the blue ocean. She is an object of beauty and strength. I stand and watch her until at length she hangs like a speck of white cloud just where the sea and sky come to mingle with each other. Then someone at my side says, "There, she is gone." Gone where? Gone from my sight. That is all. She is just as large and massed and whole and spar as she was when she left my side, and she is just as able to bear the load of living to her destined port. Her diminished size is in me, not in her. And just at the moment when someone at my side says, "There, she is gone," there are other eyes watching her coming, and other voices ready to take up the glad shout. Here she comes. Many of you are familiar with this wonderful book, Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. He is the founder of the Center for Spiritual Living when it was called the Church of Religious Science. And he's a pioneer in New Thought thinking and in New Thought religious practice. And he has a passage in here that we actually read to Mother as at her bedside. And it also spoke very, very deeply to us. It is titled, "Birthless and Deathless." The spirit within me is birthless and deathless. It was not born, and it cannot die. I have no fear of death, for I perceive that death is an illusion and not the truth. I was born of the Spirit, and I live in the Spirit, and shall continue to live in and by the Spirit. The Spirit within me lives forever. Thank you.
I went back to school to study outdoor adventure and expedition leadership. Can you guess who might have inspired me? And the topic of my thesis was how people experience nature. The one really cool thing during this interview with my mom is she laughed a lot during the interview. And at one point she burst into song. And if I could sing, I would sing what she sang. But it was a hiking song called The Happy Wanderer. And the last line of it just makes me smile, and it was, may I go wandering until the day I die. And she did that. What I really love when I think about my mom and her love of outdoors and hiking and being with her friends is, you know, when she was raising us, she didn't get to do that. She worked, she was a single mom, she took care of her house, took care of us. And it really, really makes me so happy to know that after that, she got to have, I mean, I'm sure it was a lot of fun raising us, but she got to explore her own passions and wander and see the world and have friends. So anyway, I asked her during this interview if she could tell me what the key to happiness was. And like, that's a hard question, right? But she didn't even pause. So these are her words. This is what she said to me. To feel good about yourself, to feel good about your relationships with others, to feel good about your relationship with nature and with the animals. That's what brings happiness. It's so simple, but so profound, and I know now why she was so happy. Because she really valued her relationships with the earth, with her friends, with animals. And one of the things in the past year, when I would come out and visit, we would come here. Because this is a place where she could walk, and it's not hard to walk here. It's easy. There's this beautiful road we're all gonna go down called the Silk Road that's flat. And she was a firm believer that anybody should be able to access the natural world, regardless of age or ability or anything. After the service is over, for whoever wants to participate, we're gonna walk down this silk path, the Silk Road. It was one of her favorite walks to a labyrinth. And my mom and I did this labyrinth, and she talked to me about the labyrinth. A labyrinth looks like a maze, but it's not. It's the path twists and turns, and it ends up in the center. And it's, my mom always says, kind of like life, like your life twists and turns, and sometimes you're on it by yourself, and sometimes you pass people. In the center, I'll have some rocks that were my mom's. If anybody wants to carry a rock, you can. And then when you get to the center, you walk back out again. There's a lot of different ways to do the labyrinth, but one way my mom talked to me about it, the way she suggested I do it, so maybe she did it this way too, is to have a question. If there's, like for me, you know, it was always a question about my career or whatever, but she said, just like hold that question in your mind and walk the labyrinth and think about that question and carry a rock or something that kind of symbolizes it, and then drop your question, drop your rock in the middle, and then listen on the way out. Like, no more mind chatter, no more talking, just listen and see what happens. And I believe that my mom, from what I observed, had one question that she just lived throughout her life. And as anyone who participates enters the labyrinth, I'll share that question.
Walking in love, cast away fear. Walking in love makes everything clear. A contrite heart, thirsting for truth. A broken sparrow sings a new tune. Walking in love, I take off my mask. Walking in love, no questions to ask. A shaken soul, a troubled mind can feel the